Sakura Haruno, along Naruto, is a clear example of the labyrinths of the human heart. She experiences an intense internal conflict between her feelings for Sasuke, her admiration for Naruto, and her search for her own identity. Her heart often leads her down paths of pain, confusion, and growth, reflecting a universal dilemma. The human heart is, by nature, complex and unpredictable. In the Bible, we find a powerful warning about this reality in Jeremiah 17 verse 9, which says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately corrupt. Who can know it?" The verse of Jeremiah 17 verse 9 challenges us to reflect on the nature of the human heart. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately corrupt. Who can know it? The heart, in this context, is not just the physical organ, but the representation of the human being's deepest emotions, desires, and intentions. It symbolizes the essence of our inner life, what moves us, what motivates us to act and make decisions. When Jeremiah states that the heart is deceitful, he alerts us to our ability to deceive ourselves. We often make decisions based on momentary feelings, selfish desires, or impulsive reactions, without considering the lasting impact of these choices. The human heart can lead us down tortuous paths, making us believe that we are heading in the right direction, when in fact, we may be moving away from the truth or purpose that God has for us. The expression, "more than all things," emphasizes the gravity of this deception. The human heart is not just something that can be easily deceived, but something that has a complex nature and is deeply prone to straying from the truth. Just like Sakura Haruno's heart in Naruto, which often leads her to conflicting feelings and choices that leave her lost, our heart, without divine guidance, can also get lost in the labyrinths of emotions, fear, insecurity, and desire. The phrase, "desperately corrupt," completes this view by stating that the human heart is not only deceitful, but also in a state of deterioration. In our human nature, there is a tendency towards selfishness, lies, pride, and the search for self-satisfaction, which often take us away from what is pure, fair, and true. The heart, by itself, is not capable of discerning the absolute truth. It needs to be transformed, renewed, and aligned with God's will so that it can reflect His wisdom. But the final question Jeremiah raises, "Who will know Him?" is not a doubt about human ability to understand the heart, but a reminder that only God can truly know it. God knows our hearts deeply, your motivations and intentions, and He is the only one capable of revealing the areas where we need transformation. As written in Psalm 139:23-24, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. See if there be any evil way within me, and lead me in the way everlasting." This search for sincerity and inner truth is essential. We need to allow God to reveal the darkest corners of our hearts, those where confusion and deception lurk. Only through His light can we find the true path to growth and healing. When we trust His guidance, our hearts can be purified and transformed, leading us to wiser decisions and lives aligned with His purposes. The verse from Jeremiah 17 verse 9 challenges us not to fully trust our own feelings or instincts, but to seek divine wisdom to guide our hearts. As we saw with Sakura, our hearts can be a source of conflict and confusion, but it is through the search for truth, authenticity, and divine transformation that we can find true purpose and peace. Sakura's heart is a reflection of this confusion. She loves someone who constantly rejects her and chooses dark paths, and yet her hope persists. This reveals a deep desire for redemption and transformation, both for Sasuke and for herself. But while she focuses on trying to change others, Sakura also needs to face her own weaknesses. On the spiritual journey, we often do the same. We seek to fill emotional voids through people or situations that cannot give us what only God can offer. Proverbs 4 verse 23 guides us. "Above all, guard your heart, for your whole life depends on it." Proverbs 4 verse 23, which says, "Above all, guard your heart, for your whole life depends on it," is a verse that warns us about the importance of protecting our inner life, our thoughts, emotions, and intentions. The word guard here implies an active action of protection and surveillance. This reminds us that the human heart is vulnerable and, if not guarded wisely, can become the source of anguish, conflict, and even destruction. In the context of our spiritual journey, this verse calls us to reflect on how we direct our desires, expectations, and pursuits. As human beings, we often seek to fill the emotional voids we feel with things or people that, although they may provide momentary comfort, are not capable of filling the deepest needs of our soul. Relationships, achievements, material possessions, and momentary pleasures may seem like quick solutions to our desires, but these things do not have the ability to bring the lasting peace that only God can provide. The metaphor of guarding the heart is powerful because it reminds us to be diligent and mindful of everything we allow into our hearts. What we consume, what we hear, what we see, and even what we think have the power to influence our inner life. We often fool ourselves into believing that something external, a relationship, a successful career, or an ideal living situation, can fill the voids in our hearts. But as we know, these things may bring temporary satisfaction, but they do not cure the deep existential emptiness that we all carry. Jeremiah 2 verse 13 also brings this idea of looking for something wrong to fill the void, saying, "My people made two mistakes. They abandoned me, the fountain of living waters, and dug cisterns for themselves, cracked cisterns that cannot hold water." Here, God is talking about how people seek sources of satisfaction that cannot sustain the true life and fulfillment that He offers. By trying to seek satisfaction in the wrong places, we distance ourselves from the true source of life, which is God. Guard your heart, it means, therefore, protecting our spiritual and emotional intimacy from false promises and ideals that distort us. It means prioritizing God as the center of our lives and allowing His love, wisdom, and truth to be the forces that shape our feelings, decisions, and actions. When we do this, our choices begin to reflect more of the peace, serenity, and wisdom that comes from a deep relationship with God, rather than trying to fill our voids with temporary, unsustainable solutions. Furthermore, guarding your heart is an invitation to self-understanding. It means looking inside ourselves and being honest about what we are really looking for. Often, our desires and motivations are not clear or are confused with the desires of others or with expectations imposed by society. The process of guarding the heart is, in many ways, a process of purification. As we bring these desires before God, He can work in us, revealing what is pure and holy and transforming what is selfish or harmful. Matthew 6 verse 21 reminds us that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. When God is our greatest treasure, when we seek His kingdom and His righteousness first, then our hearts will be aligned with His purpose, and our lives will become reflective of His truth and love. Guarding your heart does not mean hardening it, but rather allowing it to be guided by divine wisdom and not just emotional impulses.